morning, class. So today we're going to be going over myofascial release with cupping. And I'm going to be going over some techniques that we learned with traditional myofascial release and how working with the cups works with that. So unlike traditional myofascial release, we generally will use a lot of oil, especially for the skin rolling techniques. But first we're going to start off with some non-oily techniques. Okay, and the non-oily techniques, we're going to be using the fire cups, not in class, but generally I'll show you how I use the cups for myofascial release and just give you some options. So the first one I'm going to use is we're going to be doing like an arm pull that we did. Let me know if any of these get too tight. But I'm going to be using some stagnant cups with it. You know, you never want to set your client's hair on fire. Okay, so I would generally sit for this. Oops, sorry, I forgot your phone's there. So we're doing it. Okay. So these are stagnant cups. Right now what these cups are doing is a skin lifting technique. So just like we did regular skin lifting, the cups are now lifting the skin, which is, remember, it does help with fascia restrictions, and you want these to stay on for at least 2 to 3 minutes. Now the challenge with cups is when you're doing skin lifting, you could hold it longer. A client may smack you because it would feel really annoying for you to do this for someone for 10 minutes, but cups like this in our scope of practice really shouldn't be staying on longer than 3 minutes, definitely not longer than 5 minutes. So we're really watching the clock here. So what I'm going to do while I'm sitting is she's got these cups here, and I'm going to be doing an arm pull while she is prone. Now, I like doing it this way. You could put one on the pec and do it that way supine, but I usually do it prone. So I could sit or I could stand, depends if I just want to hold one position. I'm sorry, my cat snuck into the room. And he's adorable. And I usually, when I get to this point, when she's at a T, I come and just support the shoulder by giving it a lift, and that allows it to get into a smoother movement. And she's tight right here, so I'm gonna sit back down because the cat gave me back my chair, and I'm just going to hold the shoulder in this position. This is where I'm feeling stickiness within the joint. Now, sometimes what I also like to do is kind of hook into the cup. You always want to lift a cup when you're doing this and pushing away. So I'm getting a deeper movement from my right hand to my left hand / cup. And I can do that with any of those 3 cups on the client. But this one is in a direct movement, like a direct line. So this is one option that you can do with a stagnant cup, and I would probably hold this longer. This is their problem shoulder too. How's it feeling?
It's fine.
Then we're gonna come back, pretend it's been 3 minutes, put her arm down here. And then to pop it, it's pretty traditional, you actually pop it away from you. I don't work with Chinese medicine, but I like to keep with tradition. So we're gonna do 2 other stagnant cup methods here. And again, these are all of the oil-free techniques that I do. Sometimes if someone's got really dry skin, I might add a little bit of oil. I'll actually set these aside. So normally I'd be standing on this side of the body to do this technique. I would be if I was gonna do it this way, I would stand here and push towards the camera, but she actually does have a rotation that I want to correct. So her hips are a little bit rotated. I'm gonna over exaggerate it. They're like this, right? So her hips are like this. And so I want to, remember how we did the technique where we pushed away from ourselves? And you can have one hand on top of each other and push away. I'm just going to pull towards me to correct that rotation that she has. And I'm using the cups to lift and pull towards me. So I'm using a skin lifting technique with the rotational force that I would normally be using. And again, I would hold this for 3 minutes, no more than 5 minutes, because it's stagnant cup. Now you can do this with a silicone cup. You can do this with like a pistol gun. They don't call it that. They call it a piston gun. The little gun thing. It's not a gun thing. It's like a, you know, whatever. I could do this with my machine if I wanted to. Just my favorite way to do it is with the fire cups. I find it gives me like the perfect suction. At the same time, I want to be paying attention to the fact that these are marking up a lot. And they were not marking up in the shoulder. So this definitely has a lot of blood coming to the area. I find that the more stagnation, the more tight a muscle is, the faster they mark up. And so honestly, I might release this and pick a different spot if I were to continue. I'm just gonna do this for a couple more breaths and let it go. My goal is to not give someone cut marks. If it happens, it happens. You definitely want to talk to your clients about that. Yeah, see, and it's just this one. So, like, if I wanted to continue, I would have left this one because this one looked fine inside the cup, and I might have moved this either up or over or gone like this so that I could keep doing it. And I'm actually going to test her to see where she needs this next one. I'm feeling the tightness in this direction here. I'm going to find a different area that I've already done. Put cups here and here. And then for 3 minutes, I'm actually good body mechanics. Sittings are great body mechanics. I'm going to sit while I do this. I'm going to be lifting the cup, pushing one this way and one this way. This is the cross hand release with the cups. So again, instead of compressing into the tissue, I'm doing a skin lifting technique and then combining that with the cross hand technique. So I didn't close the massage door all the way, and you might feel a cat on your table right now. I have to make sure everything gets vacuumed for my clients who are allergic to cats, but he does really like the biomat. How does this feel?
Fine.
So in this area, we have that thoracolumbar fascia. So it's that really thick, very tight fascia that I tend to find most people are tight in. Did you say you were having low back issues?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when we were doing the rotation one, if you just wanted to do one cup, you could. I like to have like a broader base. And it would, again, normally stand on the other side of the table and push away from me. But again, you always want to make sure you're lifting these cups. If I were doing like this for 3 to 5 minutes on each of these, this would be a really long video. I want to get to a little bit of benefit here. Again, just like you would with your hands, you're feeling for, you're going to the barrier, just pushing into that barrier and then waiting for the release. And the more you do it with the cups, you'll be able to feel that with the cups as well. So I can't remember if I said that was my last stagnant technique, but I lied if I did. So this beautiful cup is hand glass blown. So they're really hard to find this size. But I love this cup. It was so expensive. So don't let it pop off. No, I'm kidding. So, especially because it's expensive, I like to cover it and then tuck the sheet in so nothing's going to happen to it. But if you remember pin and stretch techniques, so instead of pinning into the muscle, I'm using the cup to suction out in that muscle, but still, I'm actually going to support the low back as I go to internal and external rotation of the hip. Here's now like a pin and stretch movement with the cup. And you could hold it if you want, like if you like, okay, she's tighter. She actually has good movement here. Her external rotation is a little bit tighter. And I could actually hold this for 3 to 5 minutes. When it comes to myofascial release, you want to hold stretches longer. Take off my favorite cup here, and actually it could have had a stronger suction.
Yeah, I didn't feel much of a suction.
Yeah, it was a little bit, but I could have gotten a stronger one if I tried again. Okay, so now we're going to be going into more of those gliding techniques. So those were like stagnant cup options. So I'm going to be using the vacuum therapy machine. Again, I meant to grab the hand pistol so you can see what it is. We're going to be using silicone and clasp because that's what we have. But I want to be applying a lot of oil at this point. I use glass cups. It just happens to be my favorite. And because of that, I can use aromatherapy. Aromatherapy will break down, especially the silicone, but it'll break down the plastics as well. I also have to be careful because it will start to like break down the hoses. So I want to wipe my hands before I touch my hoses. But it doesn't affect my glass cups. So I do prefer like the glass cups when it comes to using the vacuum therapy machine. So I usually just keep a hand towel off to the side. So in one of the videos in the playlist is the owner of Ace Cupping, Anita, and she's showing you how to find restrictions, and she's using a giant cup like this. This is one of my favorite parts of the Ace Cupping, and that's a really strong suction there. And the machine has a knob, so I can completely get the perfect suction. So she's got a restriction right here. I'm not going to zoom in. I don't have a cameraman here, but I can see the restriction in that rib cage area because as the suction happens, you want, as she says, a perfect hamburger bun. You don't want to see like a divot on one side. That space right there looks really good, but she does have that tight spot here. Yeah, right there. So you're able to kind of you also use the cups to identify tight spots because a couple just kind of get stuck and you'll have trouble moving through an area. So now we're not just doing a skin lifting technique, we're doing a skin rolling technique. And I like to warm up the tissue first. By the way, I also find that doing these techniques, and especially moving the direction of limb, if they do get a mark, this one's definitely going to mark up. This helps drain anything that you pull to the surface so that it doesn't leave as big of a mark. Come on. There we go. Right there. You still want to keep in mind, again, when you do a skin lifting technique, you want to lift the cup as much as you can. This particular one I find hard to grip. You don't want to push into the body. She's got tightness right here. And keep in mind bony landmarks. Like she's got the pelvis here. With this kind of suction, it would be really hard to get over the pelvis. It's just gonna feel like the cup is like slamming into a bony landmark. And you wanna be gentle with bony landmarks. Again, here with the shoulder blade as well. So I would lift up the cup and I usually then go just above the pelvis. So this guy is plastic. It's some kind of plastic. And so this is great. These techniques are great for scar tissue, fascia restrictions. She has a tattoo that she's working on getting removed, and removal of the tattoo creates like just as much scar tissue, if not more. I'm actually gonna let this sit right here because this spot's tight. So tattoos create scar tissue, you know, some people it doesn't. But they're jamming a needle in and out. The removal also causes scar tissue. So you want to, anytime you see tattoos, you want to do skin lifting, skin rolling to test that area to see how the tissue is doing with that scar tissue, if it's getting a restriction. Let me see if she's got one on this rib. Not as bad. It's there a little bit, but it's not as bad. These cups, and it comes in bigger sizes than that. Also great for the glute. There's also a pumping motion. Again, that's kind of coming out of myofascial release. It's going more into lymphatic drainage, but the pumping motion is helpful for getting a stronger muscle contraction if you have a muscle that's testing weak. Okay, let me move on to smaller cups here. So here I got a smaller cup, and I'm just gonna move it around. I can go over this rib cage area where she was tight. It can be more pinchy. Again, the big cup is good for warming it up. So you could also, you remember, you know, like the pin and stretch. So you could pin with one hand and then do the skin rolling to stretch it. I like to go around the shoulder blade like a C. And I think that's it. So I'm just gonna basically do that a bunch more for her, but you don't need to keep watching me. Again, I'm gonna concentrate on areas with scar tissues or where I originally saw that restriction with the cup. And it's a great technique to help break up fascia restrictions. So thank you for watching. Good job, Liz. What happened? I tripped on the sheet.